Another big one's going down this Saturday night as the Tennessee Vols head to Tuscaloosa for the third Saturday in October. Let's break this one down. Stick around. Let's talk about it. You know the drill. This is your favorite Alabama sports talk on YouTube. Way Offsides. 3, 2, let's go. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. It is Wednesday night, my dudes, which means it's time to preview Alabama Saturday matchup with Tennessee. Now, we're going to get into the weeds here and try to figure out what's going on, what to look at in this matchup, a couple of things that are a little misleading, some things that you maybe didn't know about Tennessee versus Alabama, some things to just watch Saturday as the Tide takes on one of their biggest rivals in Tuscaloosa, looking to get that lick back from last year. We all know what happened last year. Things did not go Alabama's way. The referees did not help, and I'm not one to even blame refs, but Alabama last season suffers a loss in Knoxville to Nico and company. Offense was hindered big time, but I think things may be a little different this season. But before we get there, please, if you haven't yet, please consider, actually don't consider, just do it. Go subscribe. If you're watching this, just subscribe. Just do it. I'll give you a second. While you're there, hit the notification bell. It's not hard. It takes just a couple seconds. And leave a big Roll Tide in the comment section below. If you're not an Alabama fan, that's fine too. We talk about everybody else, especially on our lives on Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Central Time. This week, we're going to have Clint Lamb and EG on. I know you guys love both of them. They're going to be on together at the same time, so it should be wild. Maybe some fireworks. We'll see what happens, but let's get into this one. Alabama's faced three ranked opponents in a row and has conquered all three. It will not get any easier this week as they take on the Tennessee Volunteers, who are the number 11 team in the country. Offensively, they have been a pretty great team. They're the fifth team right now in the SEC. Did suffer that one close loss to Georgia. Now, outside of that, let's talk about who Tennessee has played. We always like to do this. We like to discuss this because in the last two games, it's really kind of shown itself to be true into what the expectation should be for Alabama football. Now, that game against Tennessee happened about a month ago. It happened in Tennessee. Joey Aguilar and the Vols absolutely lit Georgia's secondary up. We now know the Georgia secondary is not that good. So Georgia edges out a win there 44-41. Now, to start the season off, Tennessee absolutely spanked Syracuse, the threatening and terrible Orange of Syracuse, 45-26. Then they dropped 70 on Eastern Tennessee State, 72-17. They go and drop the game against Georgia. Then the mighty UAB Blazers, who now don't have a head coach, come to town. Tennessee whoops them 56-24. And then we play some more SEC games. They take on Mississippi State at Mississippi State, edge out a victory there, 41-34. And then Arkansas comes to town, and they barely beat Arkansas, who this is interesting because there's nobody in the SEC who's just flat out bad this year. Even Arkansas, Mississippi State, Florida, some of the worst teams in the SEC, can beat you. Don't believe me? Ask the Longhorns what happened when they went to the Swamp. Now, Taylor Green at Arkansas is he reminds me a lot of Jalen Milroe, but when he's on through the air, he's on through the air, and he was on through the air against the Vols, and Tennessee almost lost that one. Right now, Tennessee is their offensive, I don't want to say juggernaut. That's not the right word, but they're explosive, right? They always have been. They have been under Josh Heupel, so much so that Joey Aguilar, their quarterback, he is one of the top passers in the SEC right now. I think he's probably like third or fourth in pass yardage. I think Ty Simpson's leading the conference, but Aguilar's completed 1,680 yards this season. Completion percentage is about 65%. He's thrown 5 interceptions, and he's been sacked 3 times. Now, that's interesting to me, that number there, because that tells me that with Alabama's issues getting the quarterback to the ground, they are going to hopefully not struggle to affect him. Because as we saw that first half against Georgia, if Aguilar's got time to sit back there, he will pick you apart. Why is that? Well, contrary to popular belief, Tennessee has some pretty decent wide receivers. Their wide receiving core is actually very similar to Alabama's, in which the wealth is spread around a lot. You got Brazell, Staley, Matthews, Kitzelman. Those are the big ones right off the bat. And then they throw the running backs a little bit, and then they've got a lot of guys they rotate in and get some playing time. The biggest wide receiver that Alabama's going to concern itself with is going to be Brazell. He recorded 32 receptions for 536 yards this season. Now, defensively, this secondary has its job cut out for them. Now, Bray Hubbard obviously has been kind of the leader of the secondary. Keon Sabb is probably in that conversation. But there's been some weaknesses out on the islands. Damani Jackson hasn't been the strongest player. That has led to Dijon Lee Jr. getting a lot of snaps. Now, however, I will say that Missouri game, that last play by Missouri, thank goodness for the pressure, because Dijon Lee was in the wrong spot and there was a wide receiver wide open. So Dijon Lee is young. He still busts sometimes. That's really to be expected. But what I really think benefits Alabama in this game is Tennessee hasn't played a good pass rush yet. I'm not saying that Alabama's a great pass rush this season, because they're not. Statistically, the numbers aren't there. But they're getting better week in and week out. Tennessee hasn't played one yet that's really worth a damn, to be honest. Georgia's pass rush is almost non-existent. And Alabama's linebackers, especially at the Wolf position, interestingly enough, even with Quay Rusau out, are starting to play a lot better. I'm super impressed with Yonze Pierre. LT Overton is playing first-round football right now. He's making himself some money. And so Justin Jefferson is playing like a man possessed. It looks like somebody took Bray Hubbard and put him in the linebacking position, even though Bray Hubbard hits like a linebacker. Keon Sabb is looking a lot better. Really, and Hill Green's another guy who's playing a lot better. Now on the defensive, that defensive line, we're going to be looking at obviously Tim Keenan is doing his job. He's been great. London Simmons is somebody that I want you to watch potentially in this game as he gets in. But Bama, as well as somebody I think who may impact this game a little, maybe not a little, but a lot, who Alabama fans have been waiting on for a long time, is Keon Keeley. And so I think Bama's got the dudes to really, sorry, my eye is itching. I think Bama's got the dudes to really put some pressure on Aguilar that he hasn't really had on him all season. Now, Georgia was able to do that in the second half of that game. And it really, it really was a tale of two halves, to be honest with you. Tennessee, they didn't stop scoring. I mean, they still scored in the second half of that game. They still scored 21 points, but they scored 21 in the first quarter. And Georgia was able to kind of slow them down. How did they do that? They did it via pass rush. Okay. And so if Alabama can really, that's going to be the name of the game here, is going to be pass rushing. If Alabama can get pressure on Joey Aguilar, keep him uncomfortable, force a turnover or two, this one might not be close. It might not be close. Now, on the other side of the ball, offensively, Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson has been looking like the best quarterback in the country right now. Some of his throws that he's making have been nuts. But Ty Simpson is only goes as well as his offensive line goes. And the offensive line is going to have their work cut out for them. Tennessee is the leader in team sacks in the country. Now, although they're the leader in team sacks, their secondary also is last in the conference. What that tells me is that they like to basically empty out. So the opportunities for Ty are going to be there. He's going to have to make some throws under pressure, but he should be able to feast against the secondary. For instance, let's go back to Georgia. Gunnar Stockton, who isn't the most prolific passer in the country, he went 23 for 31 for 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. against this secondary. Now, he gave up almost 400 yards to Aguilar. The difference there being the 2 interceptions that Aguilar threw. So he is prone to throw interceptions now, but Bama is going to have to really work on their pass protections here. And another big part of that is it's likely, given the concussion that he has, Jem Miller's not going to play. Jem Miller did not play in week 1, right, against a decent opponent, and the running back struggled big time picking up rushes, picking up the blitz. Jam himself struggled a little bit with it at Michigan, or not Michigan. I don't know why I said Michigan. At Missouri, but the other part of this is obviously the right side of the offensive line. What is Alabama going to do about this Wilkin Formby problem? And I'm not going to talk bad about Wilkin Formby. I think he's got a ways to go. I think he's going to be a great player for Alabama, but he's not there yet. And yes, Alabama's offensive line does have a Wilkin Formby problem, right? Especially when you consider Michael Carroll sitting right there. And I get it, he's young. He hasn't necessarily, quote unquote, earned the reps, but when he's been in, he's looked better. Now, there have been some times where he's missed too. The right side of the line is just the right side of the line. But Ty Simpson's going to find himself under a lot of pressure this game. All right. And I expect Tennessee to dial it up often. Bama's going to have to be very, very smart. Ryan Grubb's going to have to be smart on first down and not get Alabama behind the chains, which it seems like they've had a habit of doing under Kalen DeBoer. On first down, kind of getting behind the chains there. It could just be that they haven't been able to run the ball or stupid penalties, whatever. And that allows these pass rushers to really pin their ears back and come after them on second and third down. So, I feel like ultimately Alabama's offense is in a good position to take care or take advantage of a reeling secondary from Tennessee, but they've got to neutralize the pass rush. On the other side of the ball, Bama's got to be dominant on the defensive line. Now, Tennessee does not run the ball well. They do run it. Bishop has 481 yards on the season so far. So, assuming he has a couple of big games, they may end up with 1,000-yard rusher. So, but Alabama is far from that. However, Alabama's run game has been evolving week in and week out. But again, your best ball carrier, Jem Miller, is likely not going to play this week. So you're going to need one of these guys to step up. I personally think it's going to be Riley. Riley, I think, looks like the best back there. But, there's some I think the staff really wants to use Daniel Hill because of his size. Haven't seen much of Richard Young. He's only gotten 19 carries on the season. I fully expect him to probably hit the transfer portal. And then Dre Washington, of course, who had the big stop on the fake punt against Missouri. But Alabama's going to have to be stubborn about trying to run the ball. Why? Well, Alabama's like third in the country right now in time of possession. They're winning games by keeping the ball out of the opponent's hand. Now, what happens when they can't do that? What happens when they're going 3 and out? Hopefully that's not the case. They've been very efficient on third down. That trend has to continue. Ty Simpson has to do a better job of understanding when the play is dead and getting the ball out of his hands, as well as, just kind of captaining the ship. And so I feel like Alabama's in a good position to kind of run away with this one. I think it'll be close for a while. It'll probably be a little bit frustrating for a while. Tennessee is going to come into this game amped up. This will be their Super Bowl on the season, as it is with most rivalry games. I think the Iron Bowl is going to go a lot like this as well right now. But I think Kane Womack in 2025 has done a much better job with second half adjustments than he did last year. And I think given that, he'll be able to adjust a few things here or there, pressures, maybe some exotic pressures, and Alabama will take over the game, force Aguilar into a couple of bad throws in the second half, and potentially seal the game. I'm going to say 38-24. So thanks for sticking around with me. Give me your score predictions in the comment section below. We'll actually be picking this game tomorrow night live, so make sure you are there. Don't miss it. You're going to want to be there. It's going to be a really, really good show. We're going to pick all the games this weekend, but that will obviously be the one we highlight the most. And let me know if you partake in the tradition of smoking a cigar after this game. Let me know what kind of cigar you smoke. Tell me in the comments. It's your chance to flex If you're smoking the Opus X or the Family Reserves or something like that, let us know down in the comment section below. As always, you know the drill. Say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.